This is Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Ooh, baby, the long work week is almost over. Thanks for ending your week with us here on Money Moves, VSiN, the sports betting network, alongside Jonathan Von Tobel, Stormy Bonatoni with you. We are holding it down in Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino, home of the world's largest sports book. Got a great weekend ahead and action sports already on your screen today. We've got one baseball game on, although I say action, still scoreless to this point right now in the bottom of the second. First game of a doubleheader between the Rays and Red Sox, little makeup game, but a full slate of baseball officially as we get the second half underway that we will discuss. And the Open Championship, JVT. They warned us the course out there would be a little bit crispy in Southport, England. Well, I think it's safe to say they're frying it up if your name is Lucas Herbert or Sam Burns with what they were able to do today.
Yeah, by the way, from your lips to God's ears, Jarren Duran actually hits a sac fly as you speak to get the scoring started out there between the Rays and the Red Sox. And yeah, it's funny. You know, it's we talk about all this and the difficulty and the big, all these sort of stuff. Well, here we go. We're getting some really low scores and some really good efforts out there at the Open. And Herbert at the top. Good story, too. I know you like those sort of things. A 62 for today, 8 under is the leader. And we're seeing if guys like DeChambeau, who's currently through 13 and 5 under for the tournament, are going to make a push to try to get up here. But it looks like this is going to be, I think, pretty fun. I know a lot of golf purists don't like low scores and easy courses. Hopefully, maybe this gets a little tougher as the weekend goes along. But some low scores and some action with a lot of mobility on the leaderboard is a lot of fun.
Listen, I'm a sucker for history. So whenever you see that, it's going to be special. Both Herbert and Burns shoot 8 under, major record tying 62 for Herbert, 9 birdies on the morning. He was a 3 or 4 foot putt away, though, from going bogey-free and setting the major record for himself. He missed by like millimeters. Did you see it? It was on 18, too. It was the last hole of the day.
Really? Yeah.
Yes. Brutal. He is your standalone lead, though, as you mentioned there, after an even par opening round yesterday. Goes from 250 to 1 now to plus 840. Burns from 200 to 1 to 13 to 1 right now. He's T4 on the odds on the leaderboard after shooting 3 over yesterday. He, meanwhile, Herbert wishes he had Burns 18 because homeboy just dunks it out of the bunker. Awesome on the final hole of the day. And I know some people were pretty upset broadcast-wise, and I'll agree with it. You tell me that a little bit more about this from a golf standpoint, because I know you watch every event, I feel like, and when two guys are having virtually the same exact day, historic days, why are you covering one guy drinking out of a water bottle and walking around and not covering the other guy making shots?
I mean, it's always been one of my complaints in the sense that, like, come on. Like, I think we've all been there before watching these and goes, like, show my guy, right? Because we have action on these guys. But in general, I've always thought that the diversity in terms of golfers is pretty lacking on broadcasts at times, especially when you get to the main broadcasts like this, because maybe they just want to go out with the big names. But either way, I'm with you. And I had not noticed that while watching it. But I think it's a legitimate complaint because it has been a problem, I think, before with some of these broadcasts for sure.
Well, and it's just, in this case in particular, it's a score only 7 players total have ever had. And you got 2 of them on your screen right now.
You don't have to do that. Nobody wants to watch that.
Should be noted, though, from a betting standpoint, as I just gave you those odds, of the other 5 golfers who have had that historic round in a major tournament, only one, Xander Schauffele, went on to win the event. So keep that in mind as you go here. Scotty Scheffler still midway through his day, but he has been playing well. You mentioned DeChambeau. He's playing well. We'll keep tabs on some of this, though, as we go throughout the course of the next couple hours, which is a good segue to set the table for everything we have to come today. Time for the rundown.
This is the rundown.
All right, guest twice today. If you have joined us on a Friday, historically, we got the usual suspects beginning in the next segment. VP of Operations here at Circa, where we're broadcasting from, Mike Palm, is going to join us for a half an hour. We'll also have VSiN contributor, betting analyst, Will Hill with some plays in Major League Baseball, as well as a couple NFL futures to get to, and our good friend Zach Cohen. Lots in the NBA to discuss today, and Summer League rolls on.
Yeah. Summer League, huh?
I know, you're mad. But you can't be that mad.
I can be mad. For those who do not know, we spoke it into existence yesterday. What did I say? I said the only thing I don't need to happen right now is that the Hawks get absolutely blasted by the Memphis Grizzlies. My undefeated Hawks with the second best point differential in the NBA Summer League. How many points did they score in the first quarter, Stormy? Do you remember?
Make it deuce.
Yep, 2. And they got absolutely obliterated to the point where they fell all the way to 8th in the NBA Summer League. Now, the blowout gets my Grizzlies in, but I think I'd rather have both teams into the Final Four as opposed to just one, and the shorter shot of those that I have. For the second consecutive year, I have been burned by the Hawks in the NBA Summer League. Brutal.
More from the NBA in a moment, but we will also look at some NFL Super Bowl contenders or pretenders today. Seem like good timing considering the defending Super Bowl champs have rookies reporting today. Seattle, the first team to have players at camp. San Francisco will get underway with their rookies tomorrow. We're here, ladies and gentlemen. Football season is officially here.
There is a contender that many believe is just that, to which I tell you, you're absolutely insane.
Ooh, okay. That's a good tease for a little bit later. That's how we're going to kick off hour 2 of today's program. And the decision, part 3 for LeBron James, has reportedly put the NBA on hold. JVT NBA Commissioner Adam Silver admitting yesterday at the CNBC Boardroom Game Plan Summit the league can't finish the 2026-27 schedule until LeBron announces where he's going. Quote, where LeBron plays will affect the schedule. I'd like him to make an announcement already so we can finish this thing because as you can imagine, the teams are calling us, the networks are calling us. Everybody wants to lock in the schedule, but it will influence how we schedule opening week, Christmas Day, and more.
LeBron James.
LeBron James.
Is it part 3? I guess technically, right?
Think
we
so.
kind of knew he was going back to Cleveland after the Miami stint, but your whole point still stands. Yeah, look, let's decide. So there's always two parts of a conversation, and one they always go too far, right? Those morons of you who are saying nobody cares, he's not going to be impactful. You're stupid. You know you're being stupid. Everybody cares. He is an impactful player, and he's going to be a very impactful player for wherever he goes. If you want to say you don't like him, that's fine. But it's moronic to think that LeBron James would not have an impact on a team in any way, shape, or form. So that's number one. But the other part of that coin is, yeah, bro, decide. He says the other day, was it the Fanatics Fest or wherever he's at? Well, I won't keep you hanging along no longer. I'm coming to a decision soon. You know where you want to go. Just make the decision so we can move on with our lives. You understand that maybe part of him with the ego likes to have some of the attention. But the fact that you can tell that Silver is no Stern, because I think Stern would probably behind the scenes when he was the late commissioner of the NBA, I'll probably behind the scenes go, if you don't get this done, there will be consequences to pay. So very interested. I would assume that by this time next week, we all have known for a couple of days where LeBron goes. And maybe even by the time we come on the air on Monday, we'll have an idea of LeBron playing in a different uniform.
We brought this up yesterday, but I think it bears repeating. The craziness of the odds market. When you look at some of the prediction market stuff right now on Kalshi and Polymarket, the Cavs odds really sank over the last 24 to 36 hours. Earlier this week, they were sitting at 43%. This morning, you see 31% on Kalshi behind the Golden State Warriors.
Don't get it.
34% on Polymarket, just a tick over Golden State. This is after we talked about it. Shams Charania over at ESPN reporting on the Pat McAfee show that the focus for him, the top contenders have been the Cavs, Heat, and 76ers. No mention of Golden State in that segment.
So in the few minutes since you have checked or whenever it is, Cavs are back on top. So we have seen this market. But yeah,
it's fluctuating all over the place.
Yes, your overall point still stands, which is it's 34% Cavaliers, 32% Golden State Warriors. That's over at Polymarket. Other prediction markets represent the similar thing, although Golden State in the last few days at other markets has not surpassed Cleveland, but has definitely closed the gap at this point right now. This is incredible to look at because, like you're talking about, this market is not representing the information that is out there at all. I mean, you're by Miami, right? Miami hasn't even moved.
Yes, and so I bring this up. I'm glad you brought this up because yesterday, obviously, we saw Giannis Antetokounmpo officially announced in Miami, and he's talking about how much he would love for LeBron to be there.
Did Pat Riley, his lame reason for why he wore number 34?
I did. I saw like a clip, but I didn't listen to it.
His mom was born in 63 and his dad was born in 64, so like 3 and 4. But then we got the news about, speaking of jersey numbers, did you see Draymond Green? So Draymond Green reportedly told people that if LeBron comes and when LeBron comes, he already knows what jersey he's going to wear. Because remember, LeBron wears number 23. Draymond wears number 23. And somebody asked him what the number would be, and Draymond responded, 2 + 3 = 5. So he already knows what number he's going to have. This is insane. We have to read every single bit of information. And jersey numbers were important yesterday.
We really do. I want to hear from Pat Riley, though, because while the viral clip has been that quick, like we landed the plane, now there's another one we have to land. He did go more into detail with ESPN Heat reporter Om Youngmisuk. Take a listen.
We've had conversations, with Rich, and they were very good. So if that happens and, he wants to come to the 305, We got a golf course, okay. The weather's nice, Steve Kerr. Same thing down here. So, and there's no state tax, so that's a little better in California. But anyway, he's got a decision to make, and he deserves the time to go play where he wants to play.
And ESPN's Brian Windhorst, we don't have time to play the sound for you right now, but he made a pretty good case for how LeBron could fit with Miami. But as you said, very little movement from a prediction market standpoint on the Heat. Pretty stuck at that 18%-ish.
Look, and I don't want to, we'll just put it this way. Especially when it comes to some of the prediction market stuff, when you get recent news of the teleprompter guy for President Donald Trump and whatnot, it does make you scratch your head of why this is not representing the actual public information that is out there.
Right.
It is because every single betting market moves at the drop of a hat. Offshore, the 76ers at one point were a $2 favorite to land LeBron James just based off a single report. Mm-hmm. But the prediction market has not been the case. So I'm going to be, obviously, we're all interested to see where he ends up, but ultimately the accuracy of these prediction markets in comparison to where he ultimately ends up is going to be very interesting to watch. And we'll never get a sense of how close he really was to some of these other teams, the ones that he does not pick. But if it's some team that just comes out of nowhere, for example, my Minnesota Timberwolves, for example, maybe he can leap out of nowhere and take them. But either way,
that conversation creeped up for a second and then really went away, died down fast.
Maybe there's something. I mean, there's a reason behind that. Minnesota, a very well-run franchise. LeBron, there's
keeping things close to the vest.
Yeah, state tax issues there, but still, it doesn't matter. But either way, I think that to me is the most interesting aspect of all of this is the reporting being at odds with where the prediction market has been moving this entire time.
Okay, you hear that music, you know that means we got to step aside here for a moment, but we're just getting started here on Money Moves. When we return, VP of Operations here at Circa Resort and Casino, Mike Palm, is going to join us in studio. Lots of things to discuss, but with the MLB second half getting underway, curious some of his big picture thoughts and if there's a game or two he might like on today's card.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools. But what they don't want you to know is that you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. VSiN Pro gives you access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Just tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
We're back here on Money Moves. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you live from downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Reminder, the Circa Survivor documentary back for another season, and this one's bigger and better than ever. 7 all-new episodes kicking off every Wednesday beginning next week, July 22nd at 9 p.m. Eastern. Episode 1 takes you inside the growth of the contest, now with $18.7 million on the line, and your first look at the massive Grandissimo format, raising the stakes even higher. Follow the sharp minds and bold personalities who think they had what it takes to go the distance. Whether you play Circa Survivor yourself or just love the drama of the season-long grind, it is must-watch TV. Again, check it out every Wednesday starting next week at 9 p.m. Eastern on VSiN. One of the stars, kind enough to join us here in studio, once again, like he does each and every Friday. Mike Palm, VP of Operations here at Circa, back and better than ever. What's up?
I'm not one of the stars, Stormy.
Yes, you are. You're featured every year.
She was talking about herself.
She's like the third biggest star. Mm-hmm. I think Derek is the main star. Matt Brown clearly is number 2. And then there's,
He's a great, narrator element.
Well, that's what he is.
Yeah.
He's the narrator of the story.
But you're in it every year, too. Why are you downplaying yourself?
I'm not a star. Just because you're in it doesn't mean you're a star.
Please.
Does it?
You're in it a lot.
I'm in it each episode, I'm sure, once or twice.
What's the latest right now on the contest for this year?
We're pacing 75% ahead of last year in Survivor, about 35% in Millions, and 4 versus 3 in Grandissimo so far.
We have to get the updates every week, though, because it changes fast and furious.
It does, but I think generally it's pretty positive, right? No drama.
No, it's very positive. Yeah. I mean, and Mitch said, well, what if you continue at that 75% pace? I said, well, Mitch, you can take 18.7 and multiply by 1.75, and that would get you to. I just really think we're gonna have 32 million now, right? I mean, but it's very good. It's positive that it's continued to be well above plus 50%, right? It started out 2-1, now we're at 75. I think there's an outside shot at 25 million in Survivor.
I know most people will start getting involved with that as we get closer to the actual season, but with training camps officially getting underway, rookies reporting in Seattle today, will you start to see a little bit more of that uptick in the next month?
Yeah, people, they plan their trips, right? It's all around when they're going to plan their trips. Most people sign up at the same time each year. A good trend, though, is when you talk to the proxies, it's people are, somebody that had 3 entries last year has 5 entries this year, so that helps with the uptick.
All right. Now that we're inching closer to football season, we're also getting closer to college football season as well. You're a college football guy, but we just talked about Iowa yesterday, so I was curious. Do you have any positive thoughts about Iowa?
I have. Well, I love the state. I mean, it's a great state. I'll be there next week. I'm not going to be here.
Okay.
I have an event.
That's a good heads up.
I have
Thank
an
you.
event in Clinton, Iowa next Saturday. It's a football betting symposium.
Amazing.
At the Wild Rose Casino in Clinton. And then I'll drive to Chicago Saturday morning to do Palm Saturdays. We're trying to get Rebecca Lobo in studio. Ooh. And then I'll be at the WNBA All-Star game next Saturday night. So.
Dang, you got a busy week.
I get in, but I don't know if I don't have a press credential, but I have a courtside seat, though. So that should be fun.
At least I'm sure you saw.
Stand it up.
We were texting back and forth last week about the Dan Patrick situation with the commissioner. So at least you know that you're not the only media that can't get the interview or can't get a hold of who you need to get a hold of.
It's interesting. We've talked about it a lot. But, I mean, the week before when they had the whole Alyssa Thomas, hand on the neck and this and that, they were trying to call the commissioner's office just to get a comment. This is before now it comes out that the story is Adam Silver had to tell her you got to suspend her at least a game, right? Nobody would even comment. Everybody's traveling. There's no one available for comment, which is I've run into over the last 3 years. You just can't ever get a hold of anybody, and they don't respond to any emails. It's wild that this is a professional sport.
It is. I will also say, too, this is total inside baseball for media. Dan, how about you do the old school thing and pick up a recorder and go out on the course and go talk to her? Seriously, I mean, she's right there. You don't have to wait for her to come and get there.
She agreed to an interview and then called 10 minutes before her spot and said, my PR people said no.
Sure, so force the issue. Like yesterday, our guy, Polasek from North Dakota State, we were at Mountain West Media Days yesterday. So
how was it? It's supposed to be here. They moved it to the Palms. How was it?
It was a lot quieter and darker.
Okay.
And I may prefer it here. But I would say, the whole point was, guess what we did? Like, they were trying to, we don't have time. We pushed them on it. And we eventually got them to come over and talk to him, or we were going to take the lav mic over there and talk to him. I get it's like a media thing, and I understood that she rebuffed on her promise. At the same time, she's feet away.
Yeah,
you could send a report. You can send a producer to go talk.
They asked her in person, and she agreed to it. And then when the time came, they didn't.
Yes,
so
but
I
also go talk to her.
But the reason that they had to go talk to her in person to begin with was because nobody that they called at the conference would pick up the phone or return any of their calls to. So it's a very layered thing for them to even get her attention to begin with.
I thought it was a tremendous bit of producing by Dan's team, though. The cutaway shots of her chipping out of the bunker while she was, I think we can see her, right?
Correct. Yes. Well, since we're talking about the WNBA, there's a couple of things we wanted to get to with you. First off, let's start with the betting stuff, which is we do have a 4-game slate today. First off, is there anything you like today on the 4 contests?
I have not played it, but this number seems off to me with this tempo game. Atlanta... They played better in Angel Reese's first game back, but they were laying 9.5 at home. Well, you could have got a better number than 9.5.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way. At different points, you could have had 8.5, 8, 9. They end up winning by 9. But that game was tied with 2 minutes to go. Yep. It takes a lot of points on the road against the Tempo, and I get the Tempo played a horrible second half at home against Washington the other night. But I would have made this number closer to 5, so I probably will get involved with the tempo and the points here.
My tempo, as we talk about all the time.
You sent me an article this morning as well that caught your attention. What's on your mind?
I'd like to get to my play tomorrow before we go to all the extraneous stuff that you guys like to talk about.
That I like to talk about.
Well, with some betting. There should be some betting during the 2 hours.
Of course.
I do.
You kill me.
One of our big weaknesses.
I do think that this is, again, a ludicrous number of points tomorrow. Minnesota's laying 13.5.
Yeah.
This is too many points to lay on any WNBA game, right? Mm-hmm. I just think it's ridiculous. I took 13.5 here with Portland tomorrow in Minneapolis. I think that game tips at 5 o'clock. Pacific time.
It does.
Well, then before we get to the other thing really quickly, JVT did have a question about the Valkyrie
Oh, not a question of follow-up. I mean, you and I both kind of finished each other's sentence last week, but this team continues to win.
8 in a row now.
Yep. I got him at 12-1, and I would even make the argument 9-1. This still might be worth something.
Yeah, I think Chris Vasile, who's been on the network lately with the World Cup stuff, but he's been a guest of mine on that other Chicago show. I do bet on Chicago. Got them at 18-1. Yeah. I bet them 2 weeks ago plus 120 to make a semifinal. Ooh. Boy, if they could get a top 2 seed, then I just have to have them win one series as a 2 seed to cash that bet. The only 2 teams I could bet on right now at their current prices are them at 9-1 and the Aces at plus 360. I don't think anybody else is worth a bet. Yeah, I did send you an article by this prepared speech of Paige Beckers about she's disappointed that the African-American women, there are no African-American women that are head coaches in the WNBA right now. Right? Now remember, there's 13 franchises. It's not like there's 32 franchises. Right. But she intimated that it's systematic, that the league doesn't give them opportunities. Now, Noelle Quinn was coach of the Storm. Mm-hmm. She actually has the second most wins of any African-American female head coach in WNBA history. There's only been 10 that have coached 40 games in the league. Really? Of those 10, only one has a winning record, which was Cheryl Miller, who took her team to the final. But when you go back and you look at it, John, the winning percentage is 45%. So, I mean, there have been opportunities. At some point, you also have to win, and you have to win championships. I thought it was a very prepared statement. Also, I don't know if she prepared that statement. But I just think, let's look at the facts here, and then what's your evidence to support that it's systematic, that they don't get any chances?
Sure. Well, and Candace Parker also, who's the co-chair of the Sports Women's Leadership Council, said that there were clearer pathways and protocols in place for women of color to enter, or something that they need. But how much of this is a this year problem and not a general problem? Because I was looking back to even just a couple years ago after you sent me this, 2023, 8 of the league's head coaches were women, 7 of the league's head coaches were black, 3 of them were black women, which is a pretty good chunk. Yeah.
But it is surprising that over 30 years, only 10 have coached 40 games. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Isn't that a shocking number? Now, they don't play. That's basically one full season now. Right. And they keep expanding so they get more games. But I was surprised because I had to do a little research on that because I have to go back. It's not like I followed the league intently for 30 years.
Right. Sure. The opportunity question did surprise me, though, that was brought up so staunchly.
And Doug Kazarian made a comment, too, the other day, who's followed the league through his time at ESPN, too, and said there's not like they aren't interviewed at every opportunity and there's just no chances. Not that there's the Rooney Rule, but he said there will be. And so I don't think it's some systematic thing that this league is suppressed. Now, at the same time, right, 83% of the league is black women, too, right? So there should be opportunities.
You would hope it's a short term.
I was going to say real quick in the last 60 seconds, are you buying? Because she's actually surpassed Aaliyah Miles in the MVP race for the odds.
Beckers?
Yeah.
Look, she's better than Caitlin. All right, let's be honest here. I can't make that statement about Olivia because the body of work isn't long enough.
Angel Reese is better than Caitlin Clark right now.
She's interesting.
She can't make a 3 right now.
She's interesting. She's worried about the Sparks fans in the audience, right? They're in that game better than the game.
Fever in action today, though, by the way, 9.5-point home favorites. But
you want to lay that. I never want to lay points with that team. Yeah. They're much better as a dog. You saw that here against the Aces. I had a lot of friends Sunday texting me. They're like, by the way, when they play in that small arena there, the ticket prices are ludicrous. Yeah. Like $480 was the cheapest ticket to get in that game.
It's ridiculous.
Because T-Mobile, each you can get in for $150. The Aces don't play at that pace, right? This pace of just catch the ball, let them score, we go back, and they were never comfortable playing at that pace. They took them to overtime in Game 5 last year. Let's not forget that in the semifinals without Caitlin.
With Clark, since she's been back from injury, we talked about it yesterday, just 3 of 19 from 3. So what's supposed to be her thing hasn't been as active.
It's not her thing. Her thing is passing, Stormy. She's a gifted passer.
6 assists in the last game. We got to step aside. We'll be back with more next.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Mike Palm sticking around. We welcome you back to Money Moves on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. And we got talking a little bit of baseball when Matt Vasgersian got brought up in the commercial break, and that kind of led me to think about the All-Star Invitational that you had the other day. Surprised to see Milwaukee as the first pick. And actually give a little background for people who might not know what I'm talking about.
Well, you've participated. You and John have both participated.
Not only have we participated, somebody at this desk is actively gunning to participate.
I would like to do it again.
Yeah, but you couldn't have because
I know our showtime ruins it.
this summer one, when we do the night one, it's nice for you guys. But the summer one, we kind of overlap both your show and.
She's taking off every Thursday over the next month, just in case.
Super Bowl be here before we know it. I know.
We're going to do the one with the 32 people here, the preseason one for the NFL coming up here in just a month, I guess it is, the Thursday, Friday, crazy. Saturday. So we do these invitationals where we have these 4-round blackjack tournaments, but it's for future tickets on the different sports. So we do it 4 times a year. Really, this ended it. The cycle starts in August with 32 people, preseason, so everybody has to pick a team. That's a fun draft. Then we do it again with 12 people mid-December, when you have a better idea of the playoff picture for NFL. We do it the small conference tournament week in March, the beginning of March, and it's 16 people to pick the winner of the March Madness. And then in the summer, we have 12 people to pick the winner of the World Series. So 75,000 in total was drafted Wednesday. But the person that won first, and it's a $15,000 ticket, took the Brewers plus 950 first, which... You know, I have my theories on why I wouldn't bet the Dodgers at plus 195, but you also get the ticket price if they win. So that's almost 45,000 he's picking up, 2-1, and you get the ticket price is built into it. So I think you put yourself in a position. The Brewers is an interesting pick. The Dodgers ended up going 4th. The Phillies went 5th. The Rays were up there. The thing that I like about the drafts, and you guys know, it's never according to Hoyle.
No.
You can never predict, because a lot of these people aren't sports bettors, right? And they're just fans, or they're gamblers, and they're trying to. So I was shocked with the Brewers first.
Yeah. No, and that's what I was going to ask. But you really, to your point, you don't really evaluate it from the sense of a lot of people who know it, because I was going to be curious how the American League teams went. Throw 4 of them in a hat and pull one out. And you'd be like, yeah, I think I feel pretty good about that team. So that's that was how. What was the first American League team that went? Do you remember?
Tampa Bay, I think at third was the first one that went. Yeah. I didn't like the price on Seattle. I would not have taken Seattle only because plus 1050 is...
For a team that is constantly underperforming and never really together with their pitching staff?
Maybe the most overrated starting pitching staff I've ever seen. Like, there's not even a 1 there.
Yeah.
All it does is fool people into betting different ones for the Cy Young every year, right? It's just, I don't know. I think there's not even, there's like, maybe is there a 2? They're all like 2 to 3 guys.
My team would be, if I was in it, I would have gone for Texas. I like the Rangers a ton.
Where'd the Phillies go?
Phillies went 5th, right behind the Dodgers.
I like that one.
I had Greg Peterson evaluate the draft, and he said the only 2 picks he liked were Dodgers 4th, Phillies 5th. Okay. Not that he liked them in those spots, but those were the 2 teams he would have targeted.
It's a good way to get into how many teams do you think realistically can win it this year?
Well, I mean, are you going to say the American League can't win it at all and eliminate the whole American League, or count the 50 teams that might be in there? That's an interesting question, right? I'm not big on the Braves. I'm sort of out on the Braves. Look, I think it's Milwaukee and the Dodgers are the best 2 teams. I'm not a NOLA guy, so that's why I have a hard time ever getting there with Philly. So I would say if I were betting like exactas, I would use the Brewers and the Dodgers in the National League, and then at the end of the day, the Yankees still have a lot of starting pitching when they're healthy. I haven't seen Tampa do it in the playoffs other than in that COVID year. So I don't know although I have futures on them in the East and to make the playoffs, I'm not there with them to win the World Series. The Guardians can be interesting. I just don't know if anybody's strong enough. I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's a heck of a lot of teams that can win the World Series this year. Maybe it's 3.
I thought you were going to ask about Greg Peterson's running challenge. Did you ask him about that?
No, I didn't. Has he found a girlfriend now? I saw he says that's the big topic on Gil's show is his dating life.
The other day he ran 12 miles in his living room, so I don't think he's going to.
Every day he's going to run 12 miles or something?
Yeah.
In his living room?
Yeah.
But he said no more first dates, so I guess that means there's a second or third date on the horizon. I made 2 plays today, Stormy. I knew eventually you might get to it during this segment in baseball. I did play those aforementioned Yankees against the Dodgers. The Dodgers kind of stumbled their way into the break. Sure. But here, I don't like this crying Sasaki pitching at Yankee Stadium. We saw your guy, Ohtani. He struggled to pitch at Yankee Stadium when he was in it. Remember, he couldn't get out of the first inning, one of them. This Roy Sasaki is just begging to cry anytime he gets 2 runners on. And I'm not. A
man cries one time, you never let it go.
He's on the verge of tears at every time. I don't like him.
Because he cares.
How about taking Cole at minus 102 at home?
Sure.
Isn't it? And then the other one is I did go against your Angels with Melton and the Tigers.
He's been good, man.
He's been great.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting time for the Tigers the next 2.5 weeks before the trade deadline because they're going to have to make a decision on Skubal. Personally, I feel they should move him because they're going to get Ohtani. They're going to end up like the Angels with nothing. But they're going to convince themselves, I think, that they're still in this race, which they are, and probably keep him. So I think this is an important stretch for the Tigers. Melton minus 109 at the Angels tonight against Detmers.
Tigers and the Red Sox are two teams that we've talked about a lot as being on the outside looking in, but do you like the prices on them to make the playoffs? Can either one, if not both of them, keep it up, you think?
Well, I'm worried about, so I have 25-1 on the White Sox to win. I'm a little more worried about the Tigers than the Guardians. I guess until Jose Ramirez gets back, right? But I haven't monetized yet, and I could get Cleveland plus 115 right now. I can get the Tigers at 6-1. I mean, I could do both of them. If the Twins beat me, they beat me. I'm never going to put $1 on the Twins, just because I think that's a Little League infield, and I think that they should look to move Joe Ryan. They gave away all their homegrown talent for nothing last year when they thought they were selling the team. Now, what are they going to do this year?
Yeah, I think the problem with the Red Sox, I've made the case because I have them 6-1 to make the playoffs. Their offense still has not been good, even during this run. It's just this pitching has been absolutely untouchable.
They've been better on the road, right? So we'll see as they come home, and they have the doubleheader today in the big series this weekend with the Rays.
What are your thoughts on the World Cup final now that it's set?
I think the big lesson here is you can't stop playing with the lead.
Dude,
especially not against a good
against
team.
Anybody. It's amazing all these coaches in every sport.
England had 12% possession after they scored to go up 1-0. You didn't see Spain do that. They still controlled the ball against France, up 1-0. They scored to go up 2-0, and they should have really. I mean, it was a fingernail that Lamine Yamal was offside. It should have been 3-0, and they kept control of the ball. You have to keep playing offensively. And I know all the English people want to lynch Tuchel because he made the defensive substitution. He didn't do anything to change the course of his team getting into this defensive posture. He supported it by making defensive changes. And then when they tied it, they never even could respond. And Argentina continued to control the rest of the game even after they tied it. England never even got a good scoring chance the rest of the game. It was amazing. So I laid 150. I laid 150 with Spain when they beat France. Okay? Because I thought that this game would be a runaway and that Spain would be close to $2. It hasn't happened. They're 160. I thought you could arbitrage it with the other side. And hoping actually to have extra time in the second so that even you get a full day's rest more, and then they would have played an extra 30 minutes. It didn't get there. It looked like it would when they tied it 1-1 in the 85th minute. So I'm going to play under 2. I just don't think Spain allows you to have they don't allow you to have shots on goal. 6 clean sheets out of the 7 games. So Spain minus 150 for me, and then under, not 2.5. I'm not laying 160. Under 2 at even money.
Okay. Do you do anything with have we found out even with these the French and the English?
I have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only important for the Golden Boot, right? What they're going to do. I mean, how can England pull themselves to play in this game, right?
Either team, really.
But Didier Deschamps, who's had a great run as the French manager, this is his last game. Shouldn't France want to send him out in style? And I think these two countries really don't love each other. I mean, I'm not a I am, but there's some bad blood there. Maybe not as much as the Falkland War in England and Argentina. But
see, Mike would know about the Spanish Armada.
You don't get me on the Spanish Armada when you didn't know anything about the French Revolution.
Okay, and
France loses on Bastille Day, and he doesn't even care.
I like to go into a restaurant when it says on the menu breakfast anytime, right? And I always say French toast during the Renaissance. Not a lot of people find the humor in that. But
one final thing is soccer before we go. I think that this whole Lamine Yamal and Lionel Messi thing is so crazy. And the fact that they have this picture from 20 years ago of them together, and now they're the 2 stars of the World Cup final, is like the craziest thing ever.
Well, I mean, they identify soccer players early, so I mean, these kids are in academies at age 5.
As has been pointed out by many, nobody's asking the question, why was the contest prize having Lionel Messi bathe your child?
What was the theme of the rest of the calendar? Because that's what it was. It was a charity calendar photo shoot. What else do you have going on today?
What do I have going on today? We have Slottapalooza tomorrow. That's the big deal. And so for the invited guests, the hosted guests, they're having a preview of all the new machine types up in Galaxy tonight. And then we have this all-day slot tournament tomorrow, free slot tournament 11 to 7, open bar 7 to 9, hot seats starting at 8 o'clock. So it was a big success last year in July, and hopefully it'll be great again. And, of course, World Cup final Sunday. Stadium Swim should be rocking. The book should be rocking.
Yeah, I was talking to Derek about that the other day. He was like, yep, sold out for Stadium Swim. It's going to be loaded up. Lots of fun. Thank you for doing this again. We appreciate you. We'll miss you next week.
I will miss you as well.
I know you will. Always do. Mike Palm, everybody. We'll be right back on Money Moves, VSiN's own Will Hill stopping by. One similar like-minded play with Mike on the MLB card today.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
I came to work today in a great mood. I welcomed you in the garage, said whoop whoop, happy Friday, and then all I'm getting the rest of this whole last 45 minutes, nothing but negativity. I really hope our next guest can bring some positive vibes. Will Hill joins us here on the Progressive Guest Line.
You have a victim complex.
VSiN, betting analyst, writer over at Fox Sports, host of the Should Have Bet More podcast. See what I'm dealing with here, Will? What's going on, friend?
I do. I feel bad for you. I do feel like you're being ganged up on a little bit, but I'm here to provide a little spark, a little sunlight.
Mm-hmm. If there was anything that Stormy needed, it was just more people to be nice to her.
See, this is the thing. People that don't know me are nice to me, and then the people that know me the best are so mean to me, and I don't understand what I've done to deserve this. But we will forge on, Will. We will forge on.
Will, you look like you got some British blood in you. Let's talk about some World Cup. Let's talk about the final first. Spain and France.
Can't even do my job.
Now, what are we going to do here between these two? You have any World Cup final thoughts?
I bet Spain to lift the trophy here. I know people have made this comparison. I think it's a pretty good one. Of the 2024 Chiefs with this Argentina team, where they continue to get away with, late comebacks and winning close games. The Spain defense is much better than the Argentina defense. So I think Spain, who's only surrendered one goal in the tournament, that's don't have to be a soccer expert to realize that's pretty good. Argentina, that defense has been a little bit leakier. So whether it takes 90 minutes or penalty kicks, whatever it takes, I do think I'd be surprised here if Spain is not holding up the trophy here at some point. Early Sunday evening. I know people have made the point, hey, this should be prime time under the lights. I'm okay with the 3 o'clock Eastern start as the self-proclaimed czar of the schedule making. It should be fun, but I think Spain wins. I think Argentina finally gets picked off here.
Yeah, I think they finally met their match, right? Spain is the real deal. Argentina hadn't faced a single FIFA-ranked top 15 team until the semifinal, and they escaped at the end with more heroics. You can only live and die that way for so long. So I'm with you there. Will Hill joining us here, host of the Should Have Bet More podcast. New episode out, by the way, today. You had your good friend Sammy P on the show as well, talking plenty of baseball, NFL futures as well. And before we get to MLB, I did want to go down the futures road because there are a couple of division winners that you're looking at. Longer shots, albeit as well. Where do you want to go first?
I'll start with Atlanta. I like the Falcons, and this is a team. It's funny, Thanksgiving week last year, I was having a good week with college basketball, so, I'll take a little 120 to 1 on the Falcons. They lost the game immediately to the Jets. They never should have lost. I believe that eliminated them. But then they went on to win every single game, and if they hadn't lost that game to the Jets, they would have won the division. So I think there's a lot of talent there defensively from the skill position standpoint. It's a division where you probably don't need 12 or 13 wins to win the division. It's a pretty mediocre division where you can win it with maybe 10, maybe 11. I think Atlanta can get there. I'm not sure what they get from quarterback or who plays, but as long as you get average-ish quarterback, there's a lot of other talent there in a mediocre division. Look, Carolina won it last year. Atlanta, to me, can win it this year. And I think, hot take here, it helps to have a living, functioning, breathing head coach as to what they had last year. To me, Stefanski is a massive, massive upgrade. Regardless, even if you're not a big Stefanski fan, to me, it's a massive upgrade at the coach. So weak division, coaching upgrade, talented roster, plus 425 is enough for me to pull the trigger here on Atlanta.
For those who don't know Will, he has a variety of tastes, I would assume, in food, music, culture, also in sports teams. A Yankees, Lakers, Vikings fan who I know would never just blindly back his team to win a division, correct?
No, and I wasn't high on them last year. I said, I've watched this team enough. They never just do it 2 years in a row, and there were some reasons for regression coming into last year: injuries, penalties, yards per play. There was a lot pointing to a down year, but they were over 500 with maybe the worst quarterback play in the entire league, maybe outside of the Jets. They had horrendous quarterback play. If you can get Murray to play, B-, C+ football, to be the 14th, 16th, 17th best quarterback, there's a lot of position there, similar to Atlanta. A lot of guys in terms of the skill positions you like, a lot defensively. The coaching staff, I think O'Connell is a little bit, maybe a lot of it, overrated. Look at what he's done in big games. To me, he gets a lot of love without a lot of accomplishments. But Flores is as good as it gets defensively. I think they're going to have a really good defense. I think Banks from Florida was an interesting dice roll in the first round. I think at plus 500, a little over 5-1 to win the division. It's a team that went 14-3 a couple years ago. Granted, there was some smoke and mirrors involved there, but Detroit, you can make the case the window's closed. Green Bay, do they have a pass rush? They had all sorts of issues closing games. The Bears, we know there's reasons with the schedule and all the close wins last year for some regression. So can Minnesota get to 11 wins and steal a division? I don't think it's crazy, and I like them a little over 5-1 here.
I wasn't going to go as far as you did and call O'Connell overrated, but a conversation we've had a lot is that it's so interesting. He's touted as this quarterback whisperer, yet the guy that he handpicked in J.J. McCarthy is the one that hasn't worked out. As a fan, how frustrating has that been for you?
It's been frustrating, and who knows if that was his decision. And I remember when it was Darnold, McCarthy, who should they sign? Who should be the quarterback? I said, I don't really know because Darnold was so bad to end the season, but I know whoever they pick, it'll be the wrong decision, just knowing the Vikings and their tortured history, and that ended up being the case. But just look what he's done in big games. Playoffs against the Giants at home. Daniel Jones, he should give a portion of his earnings to O'Connell. The Vikings lost a terrible game at home to them. Against the Rams in the playoffs, completely non-competitive. A chance to get the 1 seed against Detroit the week before that in that 2024 year, and they were awful. So he's been there and going on like 5 years now. He hasn't won a playoff game. His high leverage / playoff games have been a disaster. So I think he's an okay coach. If he got fired, he'd probably get another job. But this idea that he's like McVay or one of the 3 or 4 best coaches, I think is a little overstated when you look at what he's done here in these 4 or 5 years.
Yep, couldn't agree more. There were people last year giving him credit for the Daniel Jones stuff, and I just didn't really buy what was going on there. All right, Atlanta, the Braves, Stormy's team by adoption and by law. What are we doing with them here today? They get my Texas Rangers, and they will oppose Cal Quantrill, son of Paul Quantrill.
Yeah, former Yankee setup man. Quantrill was an underrated reliever. His son is due for some negative regression, though. He's gotten hit hard. He's just gotten away with it. So I think Atlanta here, and the weather is a factor in all these ballparks, all these games, for the most part, with the air and the heat, the humidity. But Quantrill, to me, a regression candidate. Sale is dominant. I think Atlanta, I don't like Atlanta running a half, especially at home, but this is a rare case where I do think you get a multi-run win by the Braves. And I'm on Texas, too. I had them before the year to win the division. I had them last year to win the division. They just do it in little fits and starts. I like certain pieces, but, Seager and Langford, they just can't seem to stay healthy. That's not a great offense. So I like Atlanta, and I think they win by multiple runs here, so I'll lay the run and a half.
Well, considering the Yankees have had 2 mentions so far and we haven't talked about their game, let's go down to New York, a potential postseason preview series today against the Dodgers. What are you playing?
Yeah, the scene of the crime. The first time the Dodgers are back in Yankee Stadium since that awful, fateful night, Game 5, I think it was the night before Halloween, where the Yankees just fell apart defensively and the Dodgers celebrated at Yankee Stadium. So they are back. Same pitcher as that night, Garrett Cole going. Cole's been pretty solid. Fastball velocity is good. Doesn't walk people. There's a little bit of hard contact in his profile, but Sasaki, to me, should not be the favorite here. He's given up 19 homers in 80 innings. He was really good as a reliever last year with the Dodgers, but it's just not working with him as a starter. Again, hot night, wind should be blowing out. I think it's favorable hitter conditions. That's always a tough ballpark to pitch in anyway. I got the better pitcher. I think if you wait, you might be able to. And if you have enough outs, maybe get Yankees at a plus price or an even money price. I actually like the Yankees here, even though it's hard to bet against the Dodgers. Yankees stole a bunch of wins going into the break against the Nationals bullpen. You can't face the Nationals bullpen every day, unfortunately, but I do think they're the right side here tonight with Cole versus Sasaki.
All right, what about last one here? He's talking about better pitcher, better team. That would be the Tigers and Moulton. He has been really, really good. Or Melton, excuse me, and he's been very, very good. He opposes Detmers and the Halos. It seems like a cheap price for the Tigers.
It does seem like a cheap price for the Tigers, almost to the point where you feel like you're missing something. The Tigers played really well going into the break. We'll see here if the break cools off some of these hotter teams. It's not going off the Red Sox so far. I think they were leading 3-0 last I looked, but Detmers, talented kid, first-round pick, trade candidate. He's had a pretty good year. He has not been good recently. 3 out of his last 4 starts, 5+ earned runs each. He's been walking people. Melton had monster strikeout numbers, monster talent in the minors. Didn't really pan out immediately, but he is starting to show why he's so talented and why he had those numbers. He's been dominant here the last month, last 6 weeks or so. So I got the better lineup. I got the better pitcher. Tigers have hit lefties okay. Detmer's not in good form. I'm surprised this is as cheap a price as it is here on Detroit.
And looking, too, to asking whether or not they can stay hot. Pretty favorable couple series out the gate here. You have Anaheim first, then the Cubs, which, yes, will be tough, but then the Royals, too. So you got two teams that are tied for the worst record in baseball out the chute, followed by the Orioles. So I think probably a good chance to rack up some wins here, Will. Thank you so much for the time, my friend. Appreciate it. And thank you for being nice to me. I really needed it today.
I hope your day goes better. I hope things turn around for you. You're a great person, and you deserve better sometimes than the treatment you receive. I'll say
you're a saint and a scholar. Will Hill, everybody. Make sure you check out Should Have Bet More podcast again today. New episode out now. And he was correct. The Red Sox are up 3-0 right now. Bottom of the 6th, 1 on, no out. So we'll keep tabs on that as we go. I don't know. You are it's just one of those days with you.
What are you talking about?
Just one of those days with you. Glad that we talked a little NFL futures here, though, because while we were talking some division contenders with Will, when we return, we're going to do a couple Super Bowl contenders or pretenders. This is a very highly curated list.
Ooh.
You should know. And I'm curious, the one that you teased a little bit earlier, though.
What did I tease?
You said that there was a contender that you really like, right?
That I didn't like. Thank you very much.
Close enough. We'll be right back, everybody. Hour 2 kicking off next.